Hello, Keesler. I'm Colonel Blackwell.
And I'm Chief Esparza.
We're at week 20 of Keesler's response to COVID. I'm going to give you a quick COVID update. Chief has got some updates for you, and then we'll conclude by how we're looking forward for Keesler's response to COVID. From a Mississippi perspective, just to give you an update, and again, you can go out and see this on the Mississippi Public Health page, but in the past 24 hours, Mississippi had 1,463 cases. That is still very high for Mississippi. As a matter of fact, over the past 7 days, the 7-day average was the highest that Mississippi has had of positive COVID cases since we started tracking this in March. Mississippi is also now the third worst of all positive cases per million per day. We are right behind Arizona and Florida. The governor has just increased the number of counties to his mask mandate. On Keesler, let me remind you that masks are required and mandated for all public service areas. Continue to raise your game on your masks. They continue to be extremely important.
As Colonel Blackwell mentioned, mask wear is very important, and we'll continue to tell you that every opportunity that we have in this fight against COVID. There's a couple things that I want to bring up for safety reasons, just two things in general. Well, first is the Youth Center has reopened today, and there are stricter protocols in place, and mask wear is mandatory for children of age, also the parents that take them to drop them off, or caregivers. The CDC, the Child Development Center, is opening on Monday, and please be prepared for stricter protocols there as well, to include the mask wear for children of a certain age. And then another thing that I need to bring up is that cold and flu season is upon us, so please monitor your symptoms, monitor your children's symptoms. If their symptoms are present, then please don't take your children to the Youth Center or the CDC. Continuing on with safety, one thing that I wanted to talk about was as we're hunkering down and fighting this fight against COVID, and who knows how long the haul will be, is the weather. So if you've been here in southern Mississippi for any bit of time, so I've been here for about 2.5 months, and have already seen the extreme weather changes to include hurricane preparation, tropical storms, torrential downpours, big thunder and lightning storms. Just make sure that you have a plan, and if you know that the weather could get severe in an instant, maybe don't go anywhere for a little while, but if you do get caught out there when the weather happens, if you're in your car, please stop, don't go anywhere. And then if you're just caught outside walking, let's say you're walking a dog, walking with your children, try to take cover as soon as possible. It floods really quickly here, and we just want you to be safe.
So we are also still in HPCon Charlie from a COVID perspective, and our Public Health Emergency Order number 4 is still in place. So for everybody who's new to Keesler, I recommend you familiarize yourself with the Public Health Emergency Order number 4 and the things that you can and can't do in that Public Health Emergency Order. And yes, again, like I said, we're still at HPCon Charlie, and we're still at that level mainly because of the spread of COVID outside of our gates. You guys have been doing a great job inside Keesler to help keep us safe and help slow that spread. So because you've been doing such a good job on base, we actually stood our recovery working group back up to look at a couple additional things that we may be able to reopen to give you more things to do on Keesler, such as the bowling alley or more flexibility at the gyms. I'll let you know, too, we are looking way down the road to say, what does Keesler look like in this new environment? For example, what are the things that we need to make permanent, like our drive-through pharmacy? How do we make the check-in area right outside the hospital more permanent versus just a tent? What can we do for resiliency, such as can we create public gardens that you guys can go out and plant your own vegetables and grow those? So while we are doing a lot with COVID, we are looking forward to say, what does this new environment look like, and how do we continue to fight through this? Because we can fight through this, but we need everybody's help to do it. As we continue to respond to COVID and do all the things that are necessary, the masks, the physical distancing, keeping your work centers clean, we don't stop doing that just because we're tired. We stop doing that when we're done with COVID, and we're gonna have COVID for a while. So we have to continue to find ways to fight through. We put a challenge out there for you guys to send us some pictures of you fighting through. We have some awesome ones the chief will go over, but I wanted to give a shout out to our key spouses and our Airman Family Readiness Center, who are putting on a homeschooling 101 to help you fight through that. We know that homeschooling your kids is a high stress for everybody. So stay tuned on the Airman Family Readiness page for that homeschooling 101. And I also encourage you guys to find other creative ways to fight through this, to keep your resilience as you do. For example, our team has put together a virtual running club, kind of a challenge to see who can get to 100 miles the quickest. Just saying, I actually recently passed the chief, and I have now more miles than she does. But my point is that we are finding creative ways to stay healthy and still stay connected as a team, even through COVID.
We are, and there are some other teams that are out there that are still fighting through this safely. Professional development is a really big responsibility that we have as military members and as airmen on Keesler Air Force Base. So, for example, our first sergeants are still going to conduct the First Sergeant Symposium next week in very small numbers and very spread out, but still being able to maintain that the camaraderie that happens during those symposiums. And then our Airman Leadership School is still going to be conducted. It's going to be a hybrid of a little bit of in residence and some virtual, but not to lose what these classes actually bring together, and that is teamwork and just the dynamics that come along with that. So thank you for those teams that are out there putting that together. We're really excited, and we're not stopping.
Thanks for what you do, Keesler. Thanks for keeping our mission going. We will see you next week.